The attack came during the Festival of Seven Moons when Melissa had least expected it. She stood in the grand hall of the Celestial Palace on Zifra Prime, her human frame dwarfed by the towering crystalline architecture that seemed to breathe with bioluminescent light. As the cultural liaison between Earth and the Zephyran Empire, Melissa had attended countless diplomatic functions, but nothing had prepared her for the chaos that erupted when the assassins struck. Queen Shalara, the luminescent monarch whose reign had brought unprecedented peace to 12 star systems, had been addressing the gathered ambassadors when the first explosion shattered the eastern wall. The Queen's elite guard, 7-foot-tall Zephyran warriors bred for combat, their chitinous armor gleaming like obsidian, immediately formed a protective circle around their sovereign. Then the second explosion hit and everything changed. Melissa watched in disbelief as the supposedly invincible guards broke formation. Their compound eyes widened with primal terror as smoke filled the hall, carrying with it a scent that made them recoil, the pheromone of their ancient predator species, one that had hunted Zepharans to near extinction millennia ago. The assassins had done their homework. One by one the guards fled, their instincts overriding centuries of training. Within seconds, Queen Shalara stood alone, her forearms trembling, her usually radiant skin flickering with distress patterns. Melissa didn't think, she ran. Her boots pounded against the polished floor as she sprinted toward the Queen, her hand already reaching for the plasma pistol she'd been trained to carry, but never expected to use. The weapon felt heavy and foreign in her grip, but her fingers found the safety mechanism with practiced precision. "Your Majesty, with me," Melissa shouted, positioning herself between the Queen and the smoke-obscured entrance where shadows moved with lethal intent. Shalara's primary eyes focused on the human, confusion mixing with her fear. You should flee, Ambassador. You are not sworn to protect." "Yeah, well, I'm doing it anyway," Melissa interrupted, her eyes scanning for threats. "We need to get you to the safe room. Now." The first assassin emerged from the smoke, a Kravik mercenary, scales dark as void, carrying enough firepower to level a city block. Melissa fired without hesitation. Her shot went wide, but it bought them precious seconds. She grabbed Shalara's lower left arm and pulled the Queen toward the servants' corridor she'd memorized during her first week at the palace. More assassins followed. Melissa counted at least 5, maybe more. Her training at the Terran Defense Academy kicked in. Not the diplomacy courses, but the survival protocols every human learned before venturing into unknown space. Humans were fragile compared to most species, but they compensated with stubbornness and adaptability that bordered on insanity. She fired again, this time clipping an assassin's shoulder. The Kravik hissed in pain but kept advancing. Melissa's mind raced through her options, each more desperate than the last. The safe room was 40 meters away. They'd never make it at this pace. "Can you run?" she asked the Queen. The pheromone, it paralyzes my kind. We cannot." "Can you run?" Melissa repeated, her voice harder now, the tone she'd learned from her father, a former Marine who'd taught her that fear was just another obstacle to overcome. Shalara's skin pattern shifted to something Melissa had never seen before, a deep crimson mixed with gold. Determination. "Yes." They ran. Melissa laid down covering fire, her shots more to discourage pursuit than to kill. The plasma pistol's charge indicator blinked amber, 50% remaining. Not enough. Never enough. But humans had learned long ago that enough was a luxury they rarely enjoyed. An energy bolt seared past Melissa's head, close enough that she felt her hair singe. She shoved Shalara around a corner and turned, dropping to one knee, firing 3 rapid shots that forced the assassins to take cover. Military tactics from Earth's brutal history, tactics that seemed primitive to species with superior technology, but proved effective when executed with human ferocity. The safe room door loomed ahead, its biolock still intact. Melissa practically threw the Queen at the scanner, positioning herself between Shalara and the corridor. The lock chirped, analyzing, taking precious seconds that felt like hours. 2 assassins rounded the corner. Melissa fired. One went down. Her pistol beeped, 20% charge. The second assassin raised his weapon. The door hissed open. Melissa grabbed Shalara and dove through the entrance, slapping the emergency seal. The door slammed shut just as energy bolts scorched the space where they'd been standing. The safe room's walls, 3 feet of reinforced uranium, absorbed the subsequent impacts without trembling. Silence fell, broken only by their ragged breathing. Shalara stared at Melissa with all four eyes, her skin shifting through colors the human had no names for. You stayed. My own guards, warriors bred for battle, and they fled. But you, a human, fragile and small, you stayed. Melissa checked her pistol's charge, 15%, and positioned herself facing the door just in case. Yeah, well, someone had to. But why? You have no biological imperative to protect me. No oath bound you. You could have escaped. Melissa thought about the question, really thought about it. She could have run. Should have, probably. Humans were notorious for their survival instinct, for choosing flight when fight made no sense. But they were also notorious for something else, for standing when everyone else ran, for protecting the vulnerable, for deciding that some things mattered more than self-preservation. Because it was the right thing to do, Melissa finally said, the words feeling inadequate even as she spoke them. Because you're not just a queen, you're a person who needed help. And where I come from, we have this weird habit of helping people who need it, even when it's stupid, even when it's dangerous. Shalara's skin rippled with deep blue, the Zephyran expression of profound respect. The other species speak of humanity's violence, their wars, their aggression. They fear what humans might become with access to greater technology. They're not wrong to be cautious, Melissa admitted, but they miss the other half of the equation, Shalara continued. The same species that wages war also stands alone against impossible odds to protect a stranger. The same ferocity that makes humans dangerous also makes them noble. Outside, Melissa could hear the sounds of the palace guard finally regrouping, of reinforcements arriving, of the assassins being overwhelmed. The crisis was passing, but in this small room something had shifted. A moment of understanding between species, built not on treaties or trade agreements, but on one human's stubborn refusal to abandon someone in need. Shalara reached out with her upper right hand, touching Melissa's shoulder in the Zephyran gesture of highest honor. When the guards ran, the human stayed. Let it be remembered. Let it be known across all systems. Humanity's strength lies not in their weapons or their ships, but in their incomprehensible courage, their refusal to accept defeat, their strange and wonderful insistence that one person can make a difference. Melissa felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. I just did what anyone would do. No, Shalara said softly, her skin now glowing with warm gold. You did what only a human would do, and that Ambassador Melissa changes everything. The safe room door opened to reveal Liam, the head of Earth's security detail on Zephyra Prime, his face tight with controlled panic. Melissa! Thank God, we thought. He stopped, taking in the scene, understanding flooding his features. The ambassador saved my life, Shalara announced to the assembled guards and officials crowding the corridor. While my own protectors fled, this human stood her ground. Let all witness bear truth to this moment. Liam met Melissa's eyes, and she saw in them both relief and pride, the look of one human recognizing in another the particular brand of crazy that defined their species. The willingness to stand when standing made no sense. The refusal to leave anyone behind. The stubborn, beautiful, terrifying human conviction that one person, against all odds, could matter. As they escorted Queen Shalara to secure chambers, as the palace erupted in gratitude and wonder, Melissa caught her reflection in a polished wall. She looked tired, singed, and utterly ordinary. Just another human doing what humans did best, surviving, protecting, refusing to give up. When the guards ran, the human stayed, and the galaxy would never quite look at humanity the same way again.